You see, the enemy is the same. He's always been the same from the very beginning.
Amen.
And so, by his record, just as we can recognize a man of God, just as we can recognize Elijah by how he dressed, by the way he looked, we can also recognize the enemy when he comes in, when he tries to steal, kill, and destroy, when he tries to distract us, divide us, and conquer us. You see, the enemy, he doesn't want this thing that we got going on here, this move of God, where there's more and more coming in week by week, filling the pews. And I believe there's more to come. God showed me some things that there's going to be an outpouring on this house. If we'll get things together, if we'll put things aside, if we'll get some forgiveness in our heart for one another, for this congregation out here that's hurt so many. I mean, there's a world out there that's hurt us individually. There's some people in my life out there, out beyond these doors, that's hurt me. And I can't be like James and John. Say, Lord, they don't deserve this place. They don't deserve to feel what I feel in the house of God. I don't want them to come in here and distract me. That's not what God will have. We've got to invite them in. You see, because we've got to keep our eyes focused on the main goal. Saving souls, changing lives. Spreading the gospel, the good news. God showed me that, and it opened my eyes to the reality of life. You know, sometimes it feels like we read all these encouraging stories in the Bible, and it's like, you know, well, they were so great and so perfect. But if you dig deep, you realize that they were just people, just like me and you. No different. They had problems, they had issues. But somehow, some way, their ministry still prospered. The Word of God went out like never before. You know, I was looking through a book that I'd received as a gift from during Christmas time from a dear friend of mine. In that book, it shows the maps and the locations of where all this happened. And you know, when you get right down to the specifics of it and you just look at where all this started, it's amazing, folks. I mean, we're talking about less than from Nazareth to Golgotha Hill to the Mount of Olives. We're talking about less than a 100-mile radius. And the majority of that was even smaller. We're talking about a radius of less than 50 miles. And somehow, some way, by the power of God, by the grace of God, it's spread. This Word of God has spread globally to all the nations. And it's being multiplied day by day. I hear great news of things that's happening all over the world. Countries that have never received the Word of God are receiving it today, this very moment. It's important to support these ministries, these outreach groups, these programs. And you know, that being said, we got a work to do here in this place. We have to do and work with the ability that God has given us and the place that God has given us. I believe this house that we can come together in was given us by God. It didn't just happen. Sometimes we take all these mundane things for granted. You know, the daily things, you know. We take this very building for granted. These very pews that we sit in for granted. These are all gifts from God. That these doors would even be open. That we would even have a place to come and worship. That we would have the freedom to live in a country where we can worship. There's so many around the world that don't have that freedom. They have to do it in private. Sometimes underground. Sometimes hidden. And when they're found out, there's consequences. Praise be and thanks unto God that we don't have to worry about that in America. There's a lot of people right now that's kind of to and fro about America as a whole. Some support America, some don't support America. But we have freedom. And a lot of times, the enemy will try to distract us and say, you don't have freedom. There's too much control. There's too many restraints.